Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by number one news provider Eswatini TV. I am Nundumiso Vilagada alongside Zama Zimanza. Let's take a look at our news-making headlines. The Kingdom of Eswatini is moving closer to reaping the fruits of the Royal Science and Technology Park. The Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindy, has asked senators to swiftly deliberate on the National Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Bill of 2022. The Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says the commercial maize program has a potential of boosting the production of maize in Eswatini. The news in detail. The Kingdom of Eswatini is moving closer to reaping the fruits of the Royal Science and Technology Park. This follows that the RSTP Bill of 2022 is now in Senate. The bill has been piloted by Minister of Information, Communication and Technology, Her Royal Highness Princess Sikanyiso in Senate on Monday.
This bill will ensure that the park is established as an innovation agency in the country. Secondly, the RSTP itself has now been designated as in a special economic zone in the kingdom. And the Special Economic Zone Act of 2018 enlists RSTP as such, and this was not legislated in the first act. Thirdly, when RSTP was formed, there had to be a new department at the ministry level known as the Research, Science, Technology and Innovation Department. And as a result, it is necessary to clarify the line of demarcation between RSTI at the ministry, which is responsible for policy, and the RSTP company, which is responsible for the implementation of innovation. Fourth, the Royal Science and Technology Park has now formed a merger with the Government Computer Services, which was responsible for all government processes of ICT. Since GCS migrated from the ministry to RSTP, it is now needed to be incorporated into the first legislation.
The Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindy, has requested senators to swiftly deliberate on the National Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Bill of 2022. The minister says they wish that the bill would pass by the time Parliament is dissolved. The minister says this legislation is important because it repeals old laws and unifies them.
Some issues that became notable points of debate in the bill are the divorce under customary marriage, paternity testing, and changing of surnames.
Kukhona lapho kusho khona lana kulomthetho ukuthi nawubeleka umntwana esibhedlela utawuphuma lo mntwana umade ukuthi babe ngilona make ngulo
lana bathi umbumisi uyasishintsha sibongo sakhe ingabe mina nje ngasuka iningi etiko ngifike ngicela ukuthi sengifuna kuba waFanveki bangangivumela yini.
Minister of Home Affairs Princess Lindiwe responded.
Umthetho lesitokwenza lapha ukubhalisa kuphela nasibhalisa ke besivele sibhalisa lapha manje nje timpunga lehloniphekile tati besivele sibabhalisa lesibahlukene lapha ekutekweni into le akusiko lobusha lokuchama nalomthetho lona bakhona vele bamvu lokwenza ukuthi ba discover umfalo ukuthi wakuphi sesibabonela abanye sebashintshile awumani ke umani ushintshe nje lesibongo ehhovisi uyafika bakuphenye sise bakuphenye bubuye bofakazi kubuye umphakathi kubuye wonke umuntu bathi ochaza ukuthi vele bayathi lenza banalo vele nje iprocess lenza akusiyo lencane iDNA ikhona kulomthetho vele itawusebenza kulomthetho bane nje ngoba ukuthi uhulumende kwanyalo singaka afford ukuthi angabhadala le DNA for wonke umuntu lo thina sofuna ukubona silomfana wakhe noma kepha sifakile sifakile isikhala sekuthi uhulumende nasanemali azakhona ukuthi angayibhadalela lento utayibhadalela.
Senators are now expected to have a workshop on the bill this week, whereafter public submissions will be made. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, Parliament.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says the commercial maize program has the potential of boosting production maize in Eswatini in such a way that there won't be a need to import maize. Mabuza says the success rate in repayment of the loan stands at 92%. The minister was speaking during the official launch of the commercial maize program in Manzini.
In a bid to ensure food security, government has founded the Commercial Maize Project, which is aimed at commercializing maize production. Speaking during its launch, the Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says government has a massive task of assisting the country to attain its food and nutrition security through the production of 30,000 metric tons. Mabuza says the achievement of this will contribute towards the national maize demand, which is estimated to be 140,000 metric tons per annum. He says that this will be achieved through the amalgamation of farmers under Eswatini nation land and commercial maize production on government farms.
Lesikhwama siconze ukuthi wonke umbila lo lodliwako lakhaya eSwatini uchamukela eSwatini. So ke sasikhanze ukuthi kunesikhebesi ngoba iconsumption yembila ekhaya nge140,000 metric tons. Eminyakeni lophelile ke sikhona kulima 127,000 metric tons.
The National Maize Corporation CEO Mavela Vilane says the Maswati who are willing to venture into maize production should visit NMC so means can be made to see how they can be assisted.
As this fund will ensure that more Eswatini are involved in commercial white maize production.
Hlelisiwe Manana, who spoke on behalf of farmers, says the program assisted her as she was able to get farming inputs. She says that they hope that one day the fund will assist in farming equipment. The business Eswatini's Chief Executive Officer Inathi Dlamini says there are ways that need to be explored, such as farming using the genetically modified organisms. The Eswatini and NMC signed a memorandum of understanding as implementing partners. Eswatini TV News Sondomlangeni, Manzini.
Mashumi Shong has been granted bail by the High Court. Shong was arrested for the alleged murder of his wife Digezile Makongo. The court has granted him bail set at 50,000 Malangeni.
In March, police arrested Mashumi Shongwe for the alleged murder of his wife Digezile Makongo, who was a police officer. Shongwe is accused of committing this offense with people who are still wanted by police. The court says it is difficult to conclude whether the investigations were completed or not when the perpetrator or perpetrators have not been apprehended. The court has asked whether the applicant was held in custody pending finalization of investigations, or was he being held in custody pending the arrest of the perpetrator or perpetrators. The court says the Crown mentioned 5 instances where Shongwe attempted to kill his wife. The court also says there is no evidence or any indication that same will be led at trial to show that Shongwe contributed casually to the killing of his wife. The court further says Shongwe denies allegations of the 5 plots to kill his wife. The court says there is no evidence as to how close police are to arresting the people said to have been hired to kill Makongo. The court also says there is no information as to who were the hitmen. It further says the Crown has not given enough information to justify applicants' detention before trial. The court then granted the accused bail set at 50,000 Malangeni in order that he pays 10,000 Malangeni cash and provide surety worth 40,000 Malangeni. This matter was before Judge Sabelo Masugu. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela, High Court.
The Chief Executive Officer of Eswatini Tourism Authority, Linda Nxumalo, says they are working on strengthening programs under the Triland Initiative to boost the tourism sector between Eswatini, Mozambique and South Africa, Mpumalanga province. The Chief Executive Officer was speaking after meeting with delegations from the three countries at the Bushfire Festival over the weekend.
We saw numbers of tourists coming through from not only our neighboring countries, South Africa, Mozambique, Botswana, Lesotho. It was also quite interesting to see the different number plates that were actually moving through the roads of the Kingdom of Eswatini. We also saw tourists from the further northern parts of the continent, Nigeria. We saw Nigeria and some of the Eastern and Western African countries were also quite well represented. What we decided also in our meetings and discussions was that we want to have a more coordinated approach in terms of how we position and market ourselves as the Triland. We are looking forward to having an exhibition that would demonstrate Triland as one destination, so that we cut down on our marketing costs and we make sure that we present ourselves as a good travel block with different activities. In Eswatini, the unique feature is the culture. So Eswatini will be showcasing their cultural experiences in Eswatini, and then Mpumalanga will be showcasing their nature and scenic beauty, and then Mozambique will be showcasing their white sandy beaches. So we do want to tighten and firm up the relationship as we move forward, and we're looking forward to even brighter days ahead.
Malkans Town Board's Chief Executive Officer, Poloma Palala, says they will look for ways to support businesses in Malkans in order for them to sell competitive products during the MTN Bushfire Festival. The Chief Executive Officer says they are yet to evaluate the business's performance during the festival in order to improve next year's performance.
Since the MTN bushfire takes place in Malkans, it is an expectation that businesses in the area will perform better in terms of generating revenue. The Chief Executive Officer of Malkans Town Board, Apollo Mapalala, says they have an agreement that Malkans business community have to be part of the festival, which gives them a chance to generate more money. He says he feels the businesses performed well.
Baningi kakhulu nathi futhi ke njengelidolobha sivele sinesivumelwano nema-organizers e-bushfire lokuthi kube nebantu abasuka khona la Malkans laba vele baniketwa tikhala ukuthi bangakhombisa imisebenzi yabo noma bathengise lokho lebakuthengisako. So vele ke iyasita kakhulu lapho ke sehlangothini labo somabhizinisi labancane. Kepha ke nalaba labakhulu bosomabhizinisi ititolo nje letinkulu esitatiko lapha He
says they are yet to evaluate the business's performance, which will then guide their next move and interventions. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Mbabane.
The Mahamba Gorge Hiking has officially announced the 9th edition sponsorship of 200,000 Malangeni. 7 community empowerment projects will be supported through the funds that were generated from this year's Mahamba Gorge Hiking.
Over 2,500 hikers joined this year's edition of the Mahamba Gorge Hiking under the theme Hiking Towards Empowering the Youth. The chairperson of the organization, Dixon Kumalo, says monies collected during the hike are used to sponsor community empowerment programs across Shiselweni.
Crime prevention program. Lonyaka ke sithite asikhokhe 30,000 emalangeni. Lotawun nigetwa labatabe bengamele lo mkhangaso saphinze sangena ke kumkhakha wesibili lesithi youth empowerment program kusho ukuthi kuhlomisa abantu labasha ngemathuba ekokuthi bangene emisebentini yokuba somabhizinisi imali ke lapho lesiyikhokhile ithi 50,000 emalangeni. Wesithathu umkhakha wesithathu singathi i-community empowerment lapho ke kunemali lapha lephumako lengi-10,000 emalangeni letawenganyelwa i-board of trustees yeMahamba Gorge Lodge
The regional administrator for the Eswatini region, Peter Mamba, has thanked the organization for the sponsorship.
Bangikhomba lokuthi bendani na ilisito lolukhulu ke nami sengikhona itawutatawisa ngeni kuthi le organization ingafeli kunoma ngangubani iqhubeke iye embili.
Kumalo has continued to urge the beneficiaries to make sure they use the money effectively. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Thando Mdluli, Hlangano.
The police have arrested 2 foreign nationals from Lesotho and South Africa for allegedly stealing 20 cell phones at the Bushfire Festival of the weekend. This was said by the Chief Police Information and Communications Officer, Superintendent Pindile Vilagati, when giving an update of their work this past weekend.
We do have one incident, though, that drew our attention at Malkens, whereby there was a breaking in these tents for the guests, and their items were stolen. Police officers who have always pledged to the nation to work tirelessly to ensure the safety of the nation worked very hard and apprehended 2 men, one from Lesotho and another one from South Africa, who are between the age of 27 and 30, and they'll be appearing in court on Tuesday to answer on the cases. We recovered about 20 cell phones during the investigations.
The Chief Police Information and Communications Officer further narrated how 2 people were killed at Lunzi over the weekend.
We also have an incident that occurred, although outside this all events, which was in Lunzi, a place in Manzini region, whereby an unknown person attacked a certain family and shot 2 dead and injured 1 during the process.
The police have promised that criminal offenders will be brought to book. She also warned against mob justice. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Mbabane.
The Eswatini National Council of Arts and Culture, Stanley Dlamini, commends local artists for the splendid performances they rendered during the Bushfire Festival. Dlamini says the time has come for government to consider investing in hosting shows that are of bushfire caliber, as most people across different countries are fond of Eswatini. Dlamini was speaking when giving a reaction about local artists who performed in the main stage during the festival.
The 2023 MTN Bushfire Festival brought together different artists from different countries and also gave local artists an opportunity to shine and bring their fire. On Friday, a local artist, Velimseni, was the opening act for the show. According to the ANCOC CEO, Stanley Dlamini, this shows growth of Eswatini artists. Dlamini commends the work that artists put in behind the scenes.
Nekwadumisa nje ama-artist ethu lesiwabonile ku-Bushfire bongazuthi abasibala khaya bovala abanye sebakhweba nje bakutshela bathi hey senisebenzile lokusho ukuthi nabathi sesisebenzile abasho mhlambe mina basho kulama-artist lala asuka agibele lapha estage ngoba sathi ukuthi onke ama-artist abukela indlungulo yawo.
Dlamini says with Eswatini's rich culture and its warmth, government should consider to invest in hosting shows that are of bushfire standard. He says that the bushfire attract people from far and wide who have a potential of boosting different sectors of the economy just by being in attendance. Dlamini also applauds bushfire management for considering local artists to be part of the festival. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Manzini.
South African JIP inmates have committed themselves in assisting Eswatini Tourism Authority in marketing Eswatini internationally. According to Lieto founder Lehlohonolo Pitso, they were able to bring 40 tourists who came for the Bushfire Festival. Pitso says they are already working on Umhlanga packages where they are looking to double the numbers. Pitso was speaking at the Ngwenya border post during the departure.
Tourists from across the globe came in numbers to be part of the Bushfire Festival. This includes tourists from South Africa. The Eswatini Tourism Authority had a working agreement with JIP inmates, which resulted in the group to bring in 40 tourists, including well-known people who came to be part of the Bushfire Festival. Speaking during their departure, the Lito founder, Lihlohonolo Pitso, says they had a great time in Eswatini. He says that they are working on the Reed Dance packages.
It's about having authentic travel experiences, but most importantly also supporting the local community, like we did when we went for the Eswatini cultural experience, which was very touching. I feel that we don't celebrate our own cultures enough, and we don't tell our own narrative as the SADC countries, as Eswatini, as Botswana, as South Africans, and we need to own the space and start hosting our international guests for these amazing experiences.
The Eswatini Tourism Authority CEO, Linda Nxumalo, says the JIP inmates brought in well-known people who will market Eswatini to the world because they have a huge following. The Bushfire Festival was attended by over 30,000 people. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Ngwenya Border Post.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates. Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV. Now, sports news tonight. Young Buffaloes ladies goal scoring machine Celiwe Nkambule says she's open to offers only outside the country after scoring 137 league goals in the past 2 seasons. Nkambule was speaking after helping Young Buffaloes ladies win the inaugural Instacash tournament over the past weekend.
Football, a universal language, according to many fanatics, where you win a game but outscoring your opponent. For a team to outscore its opponent, usually that team needs a prolific number 9. Young Buffaloes ladies team is one team that have a reliable goal-scoring machine in Celiwe Nkambule after scoring a record-breaking 137 goals in 2 seasons, which helped the Young Buffaloes retain the league title for a second successive year.
By teamwork, lendlela esidlala ngayo siyakhona ukudlala kahle, siyakhona ne-understandana ukuthi sibani udlala agcine kuphi. So ngibona kwenda kube lula ukuthi sikhona ukusikorisha amagoli. Angakhona na kwi-offer le-right because this is my talent. I have to spread it everywhere I go. So ngiyathemba nekubambisana simane nema-teammates batawenda ukuthi kube lula ukuthi basi-recognize it here and there.
Moving on with our sports roundup, last year, all athletes at affiliates under the Eswatini Olympics and Commonwealth Games Association set up their Athletes Commission, where Busuma Tsenjwa became the chairman of the commission and Phumlile Nzimnisa as her vice chairperson. Nzimnisa is encouraging all female athletes to come and submit their grievances to the commission.
Batimisele baqhubeka bagijima ubanyelo lokusida sinale Athletes Commission sikhonela bona ikakhulu mina njana ngitevele ukuthi awumelela bona vele bosisi labagijimako lokusina basho ukuthi kuyekhona isupport labayifunako sine sitabaniketa sitababukelela ndeni bese yayithatha yonke le information siyisalekela abantu abazali kuze batakhona ukuthi bathu basitakale lula kuze batawuchubeka ngale sports ngoba la kuma sports uya benefit. So ngidawuthanda lokuthi ngiphinde futhi ngicela ukuthi manje batimisele yebo kona ngasisikhathi kuyinto lengathi likhuni ukukhona ijima vela ukuthi ngathini ukhona ijima ngobe ufuna usacrifice izinto letinyenti la kujimeni ufuna ujime ufuna ungafuni sometimes ujime ngemgcibelo sometimes ujime ngelisonto. So ngidawucela ukuthi manje batimisele labasakhula abasebancane amajunior nyalo njena bebangekho basezambia labancane bahambile bayokhompyutha sabone ama results yebo a positive ayabonakala ukuthi bangaqhubeka labantwana bagijima.
Over the past 2 years, the standard of athletes' participation at the highest level has dropped, but local female sprinter Bongo Mahlale is making the country proud at the highest performance center in Pretoria. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports, I'm Linda Dlamini. Babane.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. The Kingdom of Eswatini is moving closer to reaping the fruits of the Royal Science and Technology Park. The Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindy, has asked senators to swiftly deliberate on the National Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Bill of 2022. The Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, says the commercial maize program has a potential of boosting the production of maize in Eswatini. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast for selected towns. Good night, Eswatini.
From club to country, Euro and AFCON qualifiers call on